Etisalat Nigeria is in deep crisis as its international partners have terminated a management agreement. The reason is the Nigerian firm's inability to pay back its more than $500 million loan from the $1.2 billion loan taken from 13 local banks. Chief Executive Officer at Etisalat International, Hatem Dorida, said the exit will begin in 3 weeks' time. The new development will lead to dropping of Etisalat's trade name. Joining us now in the studio is the Executive Secretary of the Association of Telecoms Company of Nigeria, Ajibola Olude. And also joining me via Skype to analyze this issue is Benjamin Shemola, is the Chief Executive Officer of Certified Networks Limited. We're glad to have you gentlemen joining us at this time.
Good to be here.
All right, Benjamin, if you can hear me, I want to start there now. What do you make of the troubles surrounding the operations of Etisalat?
It's not really trouble. It's long expected. That is because when you do business, there are terms and conditions of running a business, and then there's always a lifespan to a business, and the tweaks are up and down in business. And I think Etisalat is being caught up in this because of so much of undue paid loans. So it's not really something that is strange, it's long expected.
Indeed. Well, I don't know if Ajibola takes that, if you agree to his submission that this is not really trouble, because people believe that it's really a new dawn in the telecom sector with this challenge being faced by Etisalat. I think all of them have to tighten up their belts. What do you think is happening with Etisalat with all of this development?
Okay. For me, the crisis that Etisalat is going through may be repeat in other telecommunication companies. And the reason is that they all have loans, which is dominated in dollars and pounds. And but this loan was taken when the exchange rate was favorable. But today, the exchange rate is not favorable, right? These guys have to pay double, and it's not that they are charging the subscriber twice of what they are charging them when they took the loan. So if care is not taken, this problem or this challenge may repeat itself in other telecommunication companies.
A very valid point there. Benjamin, this point is really valid. Talking about the foreign exchange challenge. Before I ask you that, now that the directors have withdrawn their support from the Nigerian entity and again asking that the brand name be dropped, don't you think the company is dead?
What I said earlier that it's long expected, that I never meant that it's not a problem or that it's not something bad. What I meant is that, a number of us have been shouting that the federal government of Nigeria is doing nothing, practically nothing, to get this economy out of the mess that we are in. So when I said we're expecting all this with Etisalat, what I mean is that as long as the funding of all these companies have been hampered with the climate of the economy that we have right now, then just like colleague said there, you are bound to have this done and repeated in other franchise. But let me say this about Etisalat. It's so sad that it's happening to them because they are one of the latest player in the market. They came much later than the others. But as it is right now, ask me a simple question. Which business can survive with the current economic climate where you have to spend so much to get so little? And when the federal government, I was expecting, for example, I shared with a number of my colleagues earlier this morning that in other developed countries, you will see government coming up with interventions. See the way, President Donald Trump came up to salvage the automobile industry. The moment he came in, within the first 21 days, that was what he did. When you say that a particular sector is in comatose, what the government is supposed to do is not to fund and to give tax holidays to the Dangotes of this world, while the other employers of labor like the Etisalat, the MTN, and every other player in the sector are suffering. So we're having a big mess to deal with in our hands.
Benjamin, thanks for that clarity, that clarification. But now, what do you think with the central banks taking over? Do you think there's anything they can do? They've taken over the management of Etisalat since last week. Do you think they can make any impact?
what can the central bank do when the ships are down? If that is down, need fear no fall. Right now, the central government is coming back to come and cry wolf. Who created the problem to start with? Who made the exchange rate? Who was, you see the picture that we don't have money, and yet we're still spending money on recurrent expenditures. All these companies, the telecom companies, are complaining the huge sum that they spend is on infrastructural development. They will come in to come and power their cell site. They come in to come and power their data center. They come in to do everything that the government is supposed to have provided for the citizenry. So if the CPN is taking over Etisalat, it's like you taking over a dead dog. What can the dead dog do? Can it back out of it dead? Let's wait and see what happens thereafter.
All right, I'm coming back to you now, Benjamin. I still have a question for you. But indeed, the central bank's management, that's the former vice deputy governor, indeed, of central bank, took over the management of Etisalat. And a lot of people said, a lot of expectations, because they said the man is experienced, I think he's been in the sector and all of that. I don't know what you think. Can anything be done?
For me, you have to, first of all, understand why CBN, took that decision.
Go ahead.
The reason why CBN took that decision is to minimize the incidence of non-performing loans, right? So that the crisis can be managed in a way that we will not have more incidence of non-performing loan. That is the reason why CBN took that decision. And you see, the management of telecommunication company requires an experienced, person. And I want to believe that the new management will be able to to make Etisalat, attractive to foreign investor and local investor.
It's very important, right?
It is.
Benjamin, finally, Benjamin. Now, a lot of points made there, and very valid. Now, will the consortium of those banks ever get their money back? In your thoughts?
I'm not a soothsayer or something. Getting back the money is predicated on performance. Now, in business, everybody goes into it to make profit. And just like my colleague said, the interest of the central bank right now is not just about salvaging the company, but looking at the non-performing loans. So they also have their own hidden interest also there, so that you don't allow all these banks that have funded the company to also just lose their money. But the question is this: what is the current earning power of an average Nigerian? Look at how all the telecom companies have cried out to say that we are earning so little and we are paying so much. So for me, if you say central bank coming in, bringing a brilliant person to oversee the board, fine. But on what purchasing power, on what economic climate is it going to run?
Benjamin, thank you very much for your time. It's always nice talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just like I asked him, these banks need to get their monies back. Non-performing loans is ain't good for any bank. We know what happened to Skybank and some other banks lately. Now, what do you think? Do you think with all of this, they could get a headway?
It would be wrong for me to tell you that, okay, they are going to get their money back or not. But what I would want the federal government and CBN to do is to reinstate telecommunication sector. Are you getting me now? What I'm trying to say is that they should allow telecommunication companies to access dollars and pounds directly from CBN. You see, if care is not taken, we are going to have more, debt in telecommunication sector.
So the point there is that access to Forex is very important in all of this.
Yes.
I must thank you, Ajibola Olude, Executive Secretary, Association of Telecoms Companies in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the news.
Thank you very much.